Good morning and warm greetings to everyone present here. It's with immense pride and gratitude that we welcome you to the curtain raiser event of the birth centenary celebrations of Shri K.M. Bashir, a pioneering statistician who occupied responsible positions in the government of India and later in the Bureau of Statistics. He is also a visionary social thinker whose ideals remain deeply relevant even today. Organized by the Wakam Maulavi Foundation Trust, this year-long celebration seeks to honor not only the life and legacy of K.M. Bashir, the founder of VMFT, but also the democratic and inclusive values he stood for. This day-long event will be graced by distinguished personalities and will feature a rich academic session, an inter-community dialogue, and a thought-provoking public lecture. As part of the centenary celebrations and the curtain raiser event, the central theme, Equal Humanity and Equal Citizenship, Finding Common Ground, seeks to revisit and reaffirm the democratic and pluralistic values that Shri K.M. Bashir so passionately upheld. This event offers a space to reclaim the spirit of inclusive citizenship and to reinforce the democratic and constitutional principles that form the very foundation of our social fabric. We now formally commence our inaugural session. I request the speakers to take the chairs on the dais. I invite Dr. G. Gopakumar, Dr. Sajida Bashir, Dr. Jameela Begum, and Engineer A. Suhair. To start the proceedings, I would like to welcome Professor Jameela Begum, a distinguished educationist and scholar who represents a rare blend of academic excellence and visionary leadership. With over 3 decades of teaching and research at the University of Kerala, she has served as the head of the Department of English, founder director of the Center for Canadian Studies, Dean of the Faculty of Arts, and Senate member. A recipient of prestigious fellowships from the Government of Canada and the British Council, Dr. Begum has made significant contributions to the fields of diaspora literature, women's studies, and Indo-Canadian scholarship. She is the first woman president of the Indian Association for Canadian Studies and former secretary of the International Council for Canadian Studies. It's my pleasure to invite Dr. Jameela Begum, president of VMFT, to start the proceedings.
Esteemed guest of honor, Professor G. Gopakumar, the chairperson of the Wakam Maulavi Foundation, Sri Suhair sir, trustee members who have joined us here today, Mr. Suhair and his wife, guests and students who are with us for the whole day's celebration of the centennial year of Wakam of K.M. Bashir, which we are celebrating for the whole year. We are indeed honored to have Professor G. Gopakumar here with us today. A very warm welcome to him and to all of you who have gathered here. I have known Professor Gopakumar for a very long time now because we were colleagues in Kerala University, and I have always been impressed by his acute intellectual deliberations and his secular outlook on life. He was a former Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Kerala, and I remember he made it a point to get most of his colleagues to Kasaragod, and I was one among them. The warm hospitality that one receives when one is there with him. I think you must also have gauged from the warm smiles that he gives to all of you as he sits there. It's indeed a rare privilege to have such a distinguished person as Dr. Gopakumar here with us, who has in fact been acknowledged as a political analyst who sensitively addresses many of the gross injustices that are being unleashed all the world over. We have him to inaugurate the curtain raiser event that launches the birth anniversary year celebrations of Shri K.M. Bashir. He is known as a visionary and a social thinker who was acutely aware of the lasting contributions made by Wakam Maulavi. Shri K.M. Bashir decided to found a foundation here, the Wakam Maulavi Foundation, to keep alive the spirit of social reform and secularism and visionary thinking that he combined with his writing skills. All over here you have on the walls what we have in Swadesh Abhimani, where he wrote, got one of the most distinguished editors of the time to edit his paper. They worked together against some of the social evils in society at that time, and that is how Sri K.M. Bashir was able to, through this foundation, to bring back alive the thoughts, the ideals, and the vision that Wakam Maulavi had started way back in the early 19th centuries. The central theme of this conference is, as the compeer just told you, is cultures and communities of Kerala, finding common ground in equal humanity and equal citizenship. It's a thought-provoking theme that we have for the celebrations for this whole year. And we are starting this with this curtain raiser event. And today's sessions have been organized in such a way as to deliberate on the pluralistic and democratic values upheld by our Constitution and the need to revisit the idea of inclusivity in a society that is falling apart under the stress of discrimination and caste issues. The sessions highlight the need for finding a common ground for inter-community dialogue and participation. We can never achieve anything by being alone. We need to collectively think of how to address some of these issues that has become a canker in society. The sessions highlight the need for finding a common ground, and the student seminar hopes to address the issues as seen through the younger generation. And I'm very sad to note that there are very few students here in the audience, because that session was particularly designed to address the issue of how students in the present generation see around the society and see what can be done that will promote a kind of harmony and peace in society. The highlight of this event is the public address by Professor Mohan Gopal, who's a dynamic thinker and expert in constitutional law. We all know that caste discrimination was prevalent in Kerala from very early times. But today, even though there is no visible violence, even though there is no visible discrimination, it continues. And we find that in a state that prides itself to be post-caste, caste survives through coded languages of meritocracy, beauty. Remember, we had this issue about the dark color of the skin. Particularly, the chief secretary was discriminated in a way that when she was compared to her white-skinned husband. So this notion of gender discrimination, skin color discrimination, and discipline is what we would call inhuman. We need to bring humanity to the center of our discourse. We need to ask ourselves what it is to be human. Are we really humans if we have no humanity? We see all around the world, not only just in Kerala, what is happening. Young children looking up at the skies, but not seeing stars there, or the clouds up in the sky, but what they see are missiles, bombs. This is something that has become, I would say, a way of life today, where peace does not prevail. And for whom are these wars being fought? Is it for the next generation? We need to leave a world of peace and happiness and humanity for the next generation. And if we need to do that, we need to deliberate on many of the issues that are eating into the society and which is making the society more and more divided rather than more and more united. We talk about democratic values. We talk about equality. What is equality? That is a question, it's a paradox that we have to ask ourselves. We say everyone is born equal. Are they really equal? Nobody is born equal. They are all different. They come from different backgrounds. They are born in different places. They are born into different economic, financial situations. Can you call a poor student, a poor person who is born in the slums equal to, say, Ambani? Then you say everyone is equal. Let us have a world where equality prevails. So equality is just a normer that has been put on society. And we at this juncture need to think anew about equality. Is it more about not equality of situations from where you come, but equality of opportunities? Do we give them the opportunity to education? Do we give them the opportunity to be equal to someone who wants a job? Or is there discrimination? Today's society, we know there is discrimination. This is happening everywhere. We talk about reservations for the underprivileged class. The underprivileged class itself is something that we have created. And we say that let us give them reservation. Instead of creating a class like that and then trying to make peace with them, isn't it better to dissolve that class and bring them up to a level through education to look at the world and see the world for what it is? Today, when we hear what is happening in a war-torn areas like Israel, Gaza, and other places, Iran now, we feel that is war the only remedy for survival? Who survives? Is it the person who wins the war who survives, or the poor civilians who are killed, shattered, and small babies crying out to the world for help? Who survives? This question of survival is something that I think for each one of us is something we have to take to our hearts. It is not something happening somewhere far away from us. It is something that happens within us. And only if we are to quench that violence, the thirst for violence in each one of us, and only if we work together, we will be able to achieve it. Here I would just like to quote a saying of Nelson Mandela, whom we know wanted peace and solidarity in the world. This is how he put it: to deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity. So the theme of our seminar of humanity, of equal humanity, where everyone feels the same, not a kind, as I said, of equality that we are talking as an abstraction, but equality that is concrete, that we can bring into our everyday life that we need. And as a part of this Wacom Foundation, what I want is to say that we will not despair. We will hope. We will hope for a better world, because despair will get us nowhere. And these deliberations, these thoughts, these words are what will take us forward. Even a victim, like a Holocaust victim, like Elie Wiesel, after all the suffering he went through, could say, I still believe in man in spite of man. I believe in language, even though it has been wounded, deformed, and perverted by the enemies of mankind. And I continue to cling to words, because it is up to us to transform them into instruments of comprehension rather than contempt. It is up to us to choose whether we wish to use them to curse or to heal, to wound or to console. And let us not wound, but let us console. And let the Maulavi Foundation be a foundation that will send out these notes of secularism, of hope to the rest of Kerala and to the rest of the world. Thank you very much for being here and being part of these deliberations. I'm sure each one of you would have your own thoughts. We want to share those thoughts, and we want to come up with a solution for some of the evils of society. So this is not just a celebration of words and thoughts, but it is also a celebration of action to follow. And that is what we hope at the foundation to do. At this juncture, I would also like to acknowledge Dr. Sajida Bashir, who's the daughter of Sri Bashir. Unfortunately, she was unable to join us because of the war situation in Iran and UAE. She resides in New York, and she was to have been part of this program. But unfortunately, she is not here. But we are making sure that she is out there in New York listening to us and encouraging us to go forward as the Executive Vice Chairperson of the Begum Maulavi Foundation. So with these words, I would like to conclude, but it's not a conclusion. It is a beginning of what we at the foundation will strive to do. Thank you.